All right. So what am I here doing for 500 subs? So what I'm doing here is, you ever notice that there's like when you scroll around the map, you see a bunch of there's like all these dead guild forts. So boom, there's one, there's one. These things just sit there and you can't do anything about that. There's one. And look, I mean, there's like dozens and dozens of these things just lying around, you know? Just lying around. So, I mean, what I did is I talked to other people and I talked to other guilds on the planet and and also what we've tried to do is basically take control of these guild forts whenever we can, and we waited until we're at war with NYC. Stuff is complicated. NYC is a great guild. They're a great galactic battle team. For whatever reason, though, we are at war with them. I'm not. I'm not here to talk about server drama. That nobody cares about that. No one gives a shit about that. This is a war game. Obviously, people are at war with stuff. And it's great content. And I have a lot of friends in that guild. And in fact, some of the members of that guild, are really, really great pillars of the community. And I absolutely respect them for everything that they've done. That's separate from the game. In the game, we're at war with them. And tonight they have a galactic battle. I think they're the semifinals, no, the quarterfinals. So what we did is, a whole bunch of us took control of these dead forts, and when NYC went into their galactic battle, we moved all these dead forts into their fort radius, and also we asked our diplomatic partners on planet to move their arcs and their forts into their fort radius, and we've just been like. I mean, we've been attacking their tiles, and when we poured an arc, we just shove a fort right where they were. But I mean, look at this. This is insane. These are all the guild forts. There's some that are still moving. That's an arc moving. Yeah, there. It's a guild fort that's moving. A lot of these orange lines are, in fact, guild forts. I think it's in the middle of its flight. Yeah, it's somewhere under here. So I mean, look, I wanted to show this as it happened, but as it turned out, the NYC match happened to be like really early morning in China, so they had a staggered launch at their in their match. So I mean, look, I feel part of it, but and I'll show you some clips. But it's boring. It took us a while to do this, but this is about 50 guild forts. And it is also, let me think, there's SR1, SRN, RNN, Blue, and Bad. So 5 guilds have also moved their arcs into the center where NYC usually sits, and you could just see it's just a mess here. So I mean, look, this took a lot of work. I'm surprised that, and look, okay, why am I coming here and calling this like a 500 subscriber special? This seems like I'm just trolling people over the internet, and I'm telling you how I trolled them, and that's not really the case. Really what this is I wanted to bring awareness to the fact that all of these guild forts on the planet, this is just 50 of them. There's there were more that we could have moved as well, but at a certain point it's like you have so many to move, you gotta cut your losses and just go with the plan. So we have 50 of them, but there were even more. Like, I mean, there's something like 125 guild forts that we found that were utilizable on this planet, and we didn't even like scrape the bottom of the bucket. Like, it's not hard. We searched on the map, and every time we found a guild fort, we just took note of it, and we did this for a little while, like just passively. We just asked people, like, as it's server merge, like, hey, bookmark the guild forts. They bookmarked them, and we when the time was right, we figured out what the mechanic was for taking over a guild and taking over a guild fort, and how to move it and things like that, and that's what we did. But look, I mean, honestly, look, to me, this whole thing is hilarious. I'll show you a little bit more. But and look, we also like attacked a whole bunch of their tiles. Like normally, it's not this open here. We attacked. Our current tally for the evening is over 800 tiles we hit, and think about 5 arcs were zeroed tonight. So definitely the server is a dangerous place. Like, don't drop your shield. Don't rely on reinforcements from guildmates. Things can get a little bit dangerous. Oh, and look, we took 3 capitals, so that happened. That was cool. Took 3 capitals. And what we did is we talked about this internally, what we were going to do to make it look, because what we were going to do to make this as long lasting as possible. And we talked about like closing after taking control of the fort, like closing the guilds for application. We ended up setting the join power limit for all of these guilds as 40 million power, because we did not want to make it where we completely screwed up Centikin irrevocably, and the only way that we would be able to undo it would be through developer or support intervention. We didn't want to do that. We felt like that was kind of a cheap move. But setting the join parameters is open to join, but only if you're 40 million power. That certainly makes it doable. However, it will require a real person to undo this kind of inconvenience. Whereas, I think normally people would kind of rely on an alt to just start moving these forts out. So, again, like continuing our conversation about whether or not alts are good for the community, this is something that forces a real person to go in there and actually take care of the issue. So that was one aspect of why we did what we did, because they're just, look, every top guild has a ton of alts. I'm just going to say, or everyone that I've come in contact with that are this level of maturity. In SR, we prioritize people over alts, so when we were a top guild, we did not have it that way. And look, there's a case to be made. I'm not going to... this video is not about whether or not a certain guild should be full of alts or not, but... that is one aspect of why we executed it this way. The other aspect is like I was saying, we found over 125 guild forts that we could actually take control of and use in this manner, but there are more out there that we couldn't even touch. Like, just the join parameters were set to closed or 5 billion power, and it was just impossible to do anything about it. And the developers should not leave these dead guilds on the planet. They should not leave these dead guild forts on the planet. They just clog stuff up. They take up server bandwidth. They don't, people don't join these guilds and make use of these guild forts. 99.9% of the dead ones. And it's... If you go into the leaderboard and you go... No, not to the leaderboard. If you go... I can't show you because I'm in a guild, but if you go search for a guild to join, by and large, the guilds that come up have been dead for over a year. And all of this stuff just clogs up the server. And honestly, like, they got the guilds on the leaderboard. Like, all of these guilds at this point, these should all be removed. They're not relevant anymore. And honestly, leaving them up there is, it's just kind of garbage, and it ruins all the data that you can look up. So I am hoping that this will bring awareness to the fact that there are too many dead guild forts on planets, and they use up resources, they lag the server. I mean, when all of these were being moved, it lagged Centikin insanely. It's not something that should happen. So, I'm going to be checking in on this over the next, it's after midnight right now. I'm going to go to bed, but I will be checking in on this in the morning. I hope to record a few more clips and just see how things start to develop. And so I just wanted to do something different for a 500 sub special, and I realized, this isn't dealing with any math. This is just... a little bit of insanity here, and I'm starting to feel like a little bit like I'm an Ark of War terrorist between this and lagging the server in a live stream to test the server-side data validation bandwidth. But these things make sense internally to me, and it's, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to bring awareness to issues that we can fix either as a community by telling the developers like, hey, we don't need all these guild forts on planets where people haven't been part of the guilds for a year and a half. Or it's something like, don't tell us that you're fixing the server lag, or don't even imply that you're fixing the server lag when you're adding security. That the two things are not, they're not equal. They're not the same thing, So just trying to bring some awareness about that, and I do want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been an amazing 11 months. I've really, really enjoyed developing my channel, and I look forward to more videos, more hanging out, more self-deprecation, more chip tunes, and more ranting. So thanks a lot, guys, and really thank you for staying tuned, for staying tuned in, for watching my videos, for subbing my content, for sharing the videos, for giving me ideas of what kinds of videos to make. And here's hoping for another 500 subscribers in its own organic and slow time.